Hey kids, welcome to the AP test question number 1 from the 2019 exam. This question uses expressions, loops, and if statements. The AP exam provides the method header with some parameter variables and other methods that you will need to call in the solution. The question does not involve more complex topics such as arrays. Kids, one of your questions on the AP exam is going to be about control structures. And that's going to involve either a for loop that probably uses the method parameter variables, an if statement, probably inside the loop, calls to another class method given to you, a numerical or string value that is calculated by the loop and returned at the end of the method. If the question has 2 parts, part 1 will probably require the loop and the other is just an expression. Just keep that in mind. That's some helpful hints. How do you get points for this? Well, kids, you're going to get a point for constructing the loop correctly, calling the correct method, calculating the correct value, and returning the value. And we're going to see a rubric down here at the bottom. There's a note down here. Try to have some code for each of these steps. Do not use any arrays or any more complex code. You may need to use math or string methods. And kids, if you listen to one part of this video, listen to this. For this question, you are not bringing in any outside information. Everything you will need will be given to you, so you're not creating anything. Everything that you're going to write down will be on this big giant sheet I'm about to show you that will be provided to you. So again, kids, you're not bringing any new information in. Read the question. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. Let's take a better look at this. And kids, all I'm going over here, and if anybody else happens to wander onto this video, while this runestone makes a really good breakdown of this question, it really is everything right out of the AP. So everything you see here, right outside of the AP, it's just broken down a little better here. Here is your methods and classes here. And kids, it's going to give you a bunch of stuff. And read through it so you know. Up here, we have a Boolean is leap year, and this is returns true if the year is a leap year or false. Down here, this returns the number of leap years between year 1 and year 2, inclusive between the two. So year 1 and year 2. So this is just telling you whatever it is between this year you give it and this year you give it, it's going to go through as long as it's less than or equal to. And again, inclusive means that you need that equal sign there. That's all it means. The next one returns the value representing the day of the week for the first day of the year, where 0 denotes Sunday, 1 denotes Monday, on and on. 6 would denote Saturday. If you can see that, that's the days of the week, 0 to 6, 1 to 7. So that's all that's doing there. The next one returns N, where month, day, and year specify the nth day of the year. Returns 1 for January of any year. And a precondition, the date represented by month, day, year is a valid date. So this just is returning the month, day, year specific. Then we have the next one, day of week. This returns value representing the day of the week for a given date, month, day, year, where 0 denotes Sunday, 1 denotes Monday, so on, so on. So the precondition is the data represented by month, day, year is a valid date. So these are the things given to you. For the first question, all we need is these 2 kids. And the second question, which is a little more tricky, but not much more, just needs those parts. But let's just handle the first part here first, kids. One thing here that we really haven't looked at, and that is, what is the question here? So again, on the exam, you'll see this right here, and here is your actual questions you're answering. So before we get to any of this or anything else, let's understand the question. We're writing a static method, number of leap years, which returns the number of leap years between year 1 and year 2 inclusive. In order to calculate the value, a helper method is provided for you. Is leap year returns true if year is a leap year and false otherwise. So that's our Boolean expression there. So part A, which we just talked about above there, that need just those two methods, that's that question right there. Complete the method number of leap years below. You must use is leap years appropriately to receive full credit. And here's what we have here. We have our public static and our integer number of leap years, which is up here. Integer year 1 to integer year 2. What are we doing? Well, again, kids, we are just going to create a static method which returns the number of leap years between year 1 and year 2. So all the years between year 1 and year 2, it's going to go all the way through them, whatever these years are. And if it's a leap year, then yes, it's going to return something. If not, it's going to move on to the next year. So we're going to need some sort of counter or need to progress through this. If we jump back here, this is just helping us set up for our part 1. So we have to write a static method number of leap years, which returns the number of leap years between year 1 and year 2 inclusive. In order to calculate this value, a helper method is provided for you. Is leap year returns true if the year is a leap year and false otherwise. And then we're going to complete the method below. So if you look here, we are given this part right here, and we have to complete it. Planning this out, if you look down here, we have our integer number of leap years. So that's our account, and we're going to have to return our account. So this is just one part of it. We are going over through this. And remember, to get 1 point up here, you're going to have to return the value and calculate the correct value. So that's 2 points. So what this is just showing you right here is 2 points of it. So this would get you 2 points right here. And then pretty much, kids, everything in between is how do we get there? And we've done this a bunch of times. So let's kind of copy this code down here to calculate this out. If you see, we have our code right here. And kids, it's just importing the calendar. That's what we're doing. Year 1, year 2. What is that? Well, that's every year between 2000 and 2050. Let's take a second here and talk about how you can't overthink this and how you can't bring other information in. Kids, I know you're thinking every 4 years is a leap year. All I have to do is just count up every 4 years. Bam, I am done. Kids, well, there's a bunch of rules and weird stuff that happens. Usually, during your century marks, not a leap year. In 2000, guess what? It was. And if you go through and you divide 50 divided by 4, you're going to get 12.5, kids. And that's not going to round up. And when it's not catching, well, the year 2000 in there. All this means, kids, is again, answer the question with the information is given. Don't go out there and invent stuff, all right? So what's going to be our code? Well, we talked a little bit about it above, right? We're going to do an integer. Instead of number of leap years, let's just call this LP for leap years. I don't want to write out a million different words a bunch of times, kids. And what do we have to do? Well, we have to initialize it, right? And set it to 0. And just like the code above, we have to return it eventually to give us that. And we are just going to return leap years. That right there, kids, is 2 points in helping us along. Really, the in-between part isn't too bad. We know we need a for loop, and this is just a loop we've progressed through a million times. Kids, we've done this for the last 6 lessons. So for our integer, and we can call this one just I like we always do. And I is going to be equal to year 1, because kids, year 1 and year 2. And remember, we're just going between the years and we have to be inclusive. So it's just less than or equal to. So we are just doing year 1 and as long as I is less than or equal to year 2, we're going to keep going through our list, kids, progressing through. That takes care of the moving through the part. Now we got to figure out if it is a leap year. And kids, if you remember, part of the question is we have to use this is a leap year. And up here is a leap year is a Boolean that just says yes or no. That means we can simply put if is leap year. And on this one, what is that going to be? That's just going to be I. So if the year is a leap year, what are we going to do? Ooh, we need one more bracket there. We're just going to take our LP or our leap year, and we are just going to go and add 1 to that count up there. Our leap year, right up here, we initialize that to 0. We're going to call this down here. We're going to progress through. As we're progressing through, if the current year we're on is a leap year, then we're going to add 1 to our counter. Oops, we're going to need a semicolon there, kids. And then we're going to return that. We should get 13. Let's see if our code works, kids. Ooh, looks like we have a spelling error. Classic Rhodes. Is leap, L-E-A-P, kids. Spelling's important, even on the exam. And look, we returned 13. So that was all part 1, kids. Again, don't overthink it. Look what the question is asking. Down here, this is in order to receive points. This is just our rubric. And again, remember what it's asking. Make sure you're doing what it's asking. Let's take a look at what question B. Write the static method day of week, which returns the integer value representing the day of the week for the given date, where 0 denotes Sunday, 1 denotes Monday, 6 denotes Saturday. For example, 2019 began on a Tuesday, and January 5th is the 5th day of the week. As a result, January 5th fell on a Saturday, and the method call is day of week is 1/5/2019 returns a 6. And kids, this is an important thing to note here. So Saturday returns a 6, and the date is the 5th. So just keep these two in mind because we're going to come back to that in a second. Another example, January 10th is the 10th day of 2019. As a result, January 10th fell on a Thursday. And the method day of week, 1/10/2019, returns a 4. Again, Saturday 6, Thursday 4. All this is just saying, kids, days of the week here will return whatever day that fell onto. Same as above here. In order to calculate this, we're given first day of year. This returns an integer value representing the day of the week for the first day of the year, where 0 denotes Sunday, on and on and on. Day of year returns n until you give it the value to go. For example, if we put in 3/1/2017, well, in 2017, that's 60 days from January 1st. And 2016, it was 61 because it was a leap year. Let's jump over to Runestone. Let's take a look and build this question. So back on Runestone again, what's the question asking? The question is asking you to write a code which returns the day of the week when you give it whatever day it is currently. And that's pretty much it. So first day of year, again, we need to know this because if we know the first day of the year, we can figure out whatever it is from there. As we work down through these problems, well, that's what we're going to learn here, kids. So over here, again, this is kind of the heart of it. If you know that 1/1 2019 was on a Tuesday using the first day of the year method, and you know that today is the nth day of the year using the day of year method, you can figure out what day of the week today is by adding those two together. Really, kids, you had to know that little part in order to get this problem here. In first day of year 2019, that returns a 2 for Tuesday. So again, 0 Sunday, 1 Monday, 2 Tuesday. What day of the week is January 4th? Well, Tuesday is the 1st, Wednesday is the 2nd, Thursday is the 3rd, Friday is the 4th. Friday, if we go down to our calendar, is the 5th day of the week. So Friday the 5th. Which of the following expressions returns the right value for the day of the week 5 for January 4th, 2019, given the first day of year returns a 2 and the day of year 1/4/19 returns a 4? Kids, what this is teaching you here is something I remind you of all the time. Computers, they use indexes. In coding, we go 0 on up. Humans use 1 through 9. That means a 4 here is always going to be 1 off. In that instance, we have to subtract 1, so we orient the 2 together. And we'll see that here in a minute. Our next question, if first day of year 2019 returns a 2 for Tuesday, what day of the week is January 8th? Well, that's 7 days away. And if it's a Tuesday and 7 days later still a Tuesday, it's still going to be a 2. Starting to see a pattern here, kids. We just pretty much have to figure where we need to fall on that 0 through 6 index. We have a formula here, and what it means is we can add 2 to 8, and we add 2 to 8, we get 10. Now, the neat part is if we mod this, kids, we can figure out, by using the remainder, exactly which of those days it is. Let's use some practical numbers here. Kids, here's a calendar for January 2021. Let's say we know January 21st, and we know what the first day it is. We can figure out what day of the week it is. Well, what was the first day of the year here is a Friday. Let's put a 5 up on the screen. And then we have the number 21. Now here's where the -1 comes in. Kids, we count 1st to 21st. But again, where'd we index at? 0 through 6. So we're going to put a -1 there. If we go 5 plus 21, that's 26, -1. That's 25. If we go 25 mod 7, or divided by 7, we get a 4. And kids, look, Thursday, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is how we figure out what day of the week it is, given those two parameters. So let's jump back over to our Replit so we can see how that works right there, kids. So this mod 7 is really useful because there's no such thing as a 10th day, right? We can't count around towards that. There's no 10th day of the week. We have 7 days of the week. With those pieces of information, I think we can figure out how to write this. We have one more question here. Given the following expression, return the right value for the day of a week for January 8th, 2019, given the first day, returns 2 and returns 8. Again, kids, we just talked about this. We always have to subtract 1. This right here is pretty much the code we're going to write, kids. We go down here. We have a place to write our code. Now, before we get too into this, kids, remember back here, we have to use our first day of year and day of year. And remember, those two are placeholding. We just think back to the question we just did, right? And again, we're just looking above and we're just going to plug in numbers. So for me, I'm going to do an integer and I'm going to call this start day. And this is just going to be equal to our first day of year problem. So again, this could be 2019, whatever. This is going to tell us that the first day of the week that year falls on. And that's the first part of this equation that we really need to know. After that, we need to know the nth day, right? What day of the week, kids, that we're plugging in. And that's really day of year. And the parameters for that are month, day, year. Again, kids, that's just returning whatever day we're putting in there. After that, really all we have to do is return the answer. And what's the answer going to be? Well, kids, we really should make another integer. And we'll just call this the day. Ooh, can't put that there, kids. That's bad coding of me. Let's call this return day. What's that going to be equal to? Well, the first day of the year. For us, that's our start day. And then we're going to add our start day with our day of the year. And that's our nth day here. We're going to have to put some parentheses around here because what we're going to do after that is we are going to subtract 1 from that. And then we are going to mod 7 that completely. And we really should put another parenthesis around here, kids. And then after that, we have to return our answer. So we're just going to return day. And if we run that, that should give us what we want. So our answer right here for 1/8/2019, the answer should be 2. We should get 2 there. Ooh, got an error. Return day. Looks like I forgot a semicolon, kids. Don't forget that on the test. Answer should be 2, and it was 2. And any day I could put anything in there that I want. Let's do one. Let's do my birthday, kids. 6/25. Kids, you're going to be shocked, but I was born in 1998. And let's see what this returns. A 4. So back in June 25th in 1998, it would have been a Thursday. And kids, that calls our 2 parts that we need to call and satisfies part B of 2019's free response question number 1. Down here is our rubric to get points. Again, our code above called first day of year and day of year calculates the value representing the day of the week and return the calculated value. And overall, fun time. Pretty neat little problem, kids. This is a tough one though, because you really had to know a little bit of outside information to know that. You really did need to know that neat little formula. They kind of gave it to you above, but good question nonetheless. As always, kids, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, you can come see me. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video. See you later, kids. Bye, bye, bye.